y'all did y'all miss us? Because we sure missed you. Look, watch, like, and subscribe to our channel at Sister Sis 1988, as well as follow us on all our social media platforms at Sister Sis 1988. We're coming with a second episode with our wonderful guest, Miss Clarissa Burt. And I'm going to go dive right on into my question and ask Clarissa. So you talk about the importance of support groups and support groups. Who are they and what do they do?
They're the ones that support you. They're the ones that are there. They're your ride or die, your 3 o'clock in the morning phone call. They are the ones that listen. They are the ones that when JFK had said, was it the rising tide raises all boats. I used to think it was ships. It's not. He said boats. So the rising tide, raises all boats. And that's what every once in a while you're going to raise my tide. Sometimes I'm going to raise your tide, but that boat's always going to stay afloat because I have chosen you to be a part of, let's call it my inner circle. Now the circle could be 5, it could be 10. If you find 10 really good girlfriends, you are blessed beyond,
real.
Beyond, right. You know what I mean? So these are the people that whereas we couldn't choose our family. And in some cases that's great. And sometimes that's really not so great. We don't know. We do the best we can, but these are the people in your life that you choose.
Mm-hmm.
That, they talk about, there's a fabulous quote about loyalty. And that is, loyalty is when I've got your back behind your back.
Mm-hmm. I like that one.
Yeah.
So when the gossip mill starts up and somebody wants to start talking smack about somebody, the water cooler situation, they're talking about Susie Q and what a pain in the butt Susie Q is. And everybody starts, that whole tribal, Susie Q. Now, if you were to just stroll up to that water cooler and say, you know what? I like Susie Q. She's all right. What's wrong with Susie Q? Maybe she's having a bad day. Yeah, I bet you she just needs a hug and walk away. Can you imagine how just, people are going to you're nuts, or it just kind of shifts the entire trajectory of the conversation. And I offer that potentially people will really think about how crappy they were being. It's just like, do we really need to be doing this? We're grown adults. Yes, people are pain in the butt, but let's do better. Let's just be nicer. You know what I mean? Is that so hard? A lot of times we hear about, I am enough, you are enough, we are enough, oh, everybody's enough. But one day I took it upon myself to look up the definition of enough. And enough means only as much as is required. Only as much as is required. Now, I don't know about you all, but I know I am so much more than is enough. Right? And so be careful about the wording we use. Be careful about, because your subconscious will believe you. I'm not enough. I'm so much more than enough. I am way more than enough. In fact, I'm too much.
I'm a buffet.
Girlfriend, I'm too much. Anyway. But you get the point, right? It's, we fall into these, what do I want to call these? Let's call them sayings or quotes, or,
yes.
we are enough. And there's mugs and t-shirts. And I'm looking at them thinking, wait a minute, there's another way of looking at that. The same thing as when they say the grass is always greener on the other side. Well, okay, get that a lot with social media these days. You get on social media, you go, look at Susie Q. She just bought herself a Lamborghini, or she, whatever. She just got married, whatever it is, and you might get a little funky about that. But, you're thinking to yourself, well, that's not cool. You're not supposed to be jealous or envious of anybody. But you can think to yourself that there are 2 ways of looking at the grass is always greener on the other side. First of all, the grass is always greener where you water it.
True. Very true.
And is it really grass or is it AstroTurf? Right? Like, right. Is it real or is it
fake? Is
it our perception? Is it our perception, or is it what they want us to perceive?
Correct.
So true.
That's how social media is.
Yep.
Oh, and our kids are falling in a big way into that trap because they're getting a lot of bullying there, which, so they went through COVID and then they went through all the rest of, this bullying stuff. And so the internet's been fabulous for a whole bunch of stuff, but it has been, really detrimental
Yeah.
for a lot. And so one of those things is the reality. Dove self-esteem does a great job. And Dove self-esteem has been doing this for many, many years. And they came out last year in April, again, because April is the month of the woman. And was it March? Maybe it's March. And they came out with this no more filters. Because we got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11-year-olds, and all they're worried about is being sexy and throwing these filters on themselves and being and looking like who they're not. So, you got these kids throwing on I think it's called the glam filter, I think it's called the glam. And, you got these kids who are looking at themselves in the mirror and are unhappy. That's not good enough. And they're growing up believing this mask of a filter that they're putting on. It might be lashes and a little bit of whatever it is. And that is where we have to. So it was like hashtag turn your back. So turn your back to the filter, hashtag no more filters. And again, it's the perception, and we've got to be careful with our youth to make sure that they continue to understand what reality is and what reality isn't. Because let me talk, that is the quickest way to lose self-esteem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
So you frequently speak about tactics in the regime. What are they basically? Kind of give us a summary of what those regimes are.
I think one of the most important ones in the book, apart from journaling, which is, kind of mainstream, we hear a lot about it. I don't know that people understand the true power and the potential behind journaling. But one of the other things that I had learned from Louise Hayes, if you're familiar with some of her, if you're familiar with her, she was, one of the pioneers in publishing for personal development many, many years ago. She's since passed, but, Hay House Publishing is huge. And that was her. And Jack Canfield, the other half of Chicken Soup for the Soul, and that series, both used mirror therapy. And I figured, well, you know what? If they could use it, it's good enough for me too. And mirror therapy, I find, is one of the most impactful of the exercises, because it's where you come to, you have your coming to Jesus moment with yourself. And you sit in front of that mirror and which you might already hate. A lot of people just don't like the mirror at all. I mean, there are two ways to approach a mirror, ladies, and that is, one of them is when you're preening and the other is when you're screening. One of them is when you're looking at the mirror, doing the thing. And the other is when you're looking into the mirror, which is like, wow, it just bounces right back into your eyes and back down through into your soul. And that's what I'm talking about. And so when you're sitting there in your front of the mirror and you really, just stop and have that moment with yourself. And it could be, you might only be able to do a minute. Some people can't even get that far, but do that 1 minute, work it up to 5 minutes, work it up to more if you can, and become your best cheerleader. You are your own rah-rah session. Because a lot of times when we read the affirmations or we write this stuff down and we see the quotes and we post them on our cork board, wherever we're doing, you may pay attention to it or you may not. But when you make that appointment with yourself every day, could be for, again, those 2 minutes, and you say to yourself, hey, Clarissa, how you doing today? You look pretty good. I think you're looking okay. What do you think of that top? Top looks great. Just want to let you know that I just want to let you know that I love you. I do, girlfriend. I really do love you. I just think you're spectacular. And I want to let you know that presentation you did the other day in front of those 300 people, I really think it was some of your best work. It was fabulous. Good on you. I also want to let you know that I forgive you for that time that fill in the dots. Like whatever conversation you need to be having, it's going to look weird. It's going to feel weird. It's going to sound weird. And you're going to want to do it behind closed and potentially even nobody else is home because they're going to think you've lost your mind. But when you really do it, like you are, hey, girlfriend, looking good today. Great job with, like you really, and if you're waiting for anybody else to tell you this stuff, you're going to wait a long time.
Yeah.
And you will. And I think that idea of when they talk about love of self, it's really it's the quickest way, right? It's really, people say, well, I mean, what about narcissism? Narcissism is 180 degrees in the other direction. It is the complete opposite of happy, healthy self-esteem, complete opposite. And that will be another chapter we'll get to another day. But it really is, when you talk about self-care, And then we talk about self-love. There you go. You know, and that I think is one of the, again, as I said before, one of the most impactful tools. Funny, you know, a little strange, but it can be done and it should be done.
Okay. Well, then Ms.
I think
Glenda,
I normally call it like self-talks, like with the mirror therapy. You know, you call it self-talk. I may not stand in the mirror and do that, but you know that self-talk is really important, you know, to make sure that that's positive and healthy for yourself. What are the 4 pillars of self-esteem in your opinion?
It's looking good, feeling good, being good, and greater good. And so, you know, people say, there was a guy that was interviewing one day. He said, what does looking good have to do with anything? I said,
It's important.
is that, you know, what's that have to
Yeah.
do? I said, well, first of all, it's, you know, you know, it's your first perception of self, and it's everyone
Correct.
else's perception as well. It's that kind of thing, that lilt in your step. When you're looking good, you're feeling good.
You
Feeling
do.
good,
Yes.
when you're feeling good, it's your diet, it's your exercise, your nutrition, and your wellness. You know that you're eating right for your body, your blood type, whatever the heck it is, that you're feeling good. And wellness is, maybe it's that massage, and, you know, maybe it's a hike or whatever that is, the time that you take. You say, oh, I don't have any time for that. Well, you better make time for that. You got to make time for that. Just like you'd make the time to take the dog to the vet, to get your butt, to get your nails done, to get your hair cut, to get the kids to the doctor, to get, you know, to get your, you know, your son to the dentist, all of that gets scheduled. Okay. And so I don't know if you have to, you know, make play dates with somebody else and you and another lady switch off, or you have a husband that, you know, hey, listen, you're going to be doing those, 3 hours on Saturday morning, and then I'll cover you 3 hours on
Right.
Saturday afternoon, whatever. You make those, you know, the time for yourself to be able to say, I have to step away. I must take a break. And that is something that I think is a non-negotiable for all of us women. We must be taking that time for ourselves.
Yes.
Again, it could be, you know, it could be a bitch fest. It could be a glass of wine with a best friend. It could be whatever you need, but whatever it is you need in the moment is what you need to be, you know, gifting yourself.
Right, right. How did you come up with those 4 pillars?
You know, I figured, you know, it was just like, I think I equated it to, you know, you can't sit on a chair with only 3 legs. You know what I mean? Yeah, it could be a stool, but I'm not talking stool. I'm talking chairs. I want a chair. You know, I want a throne, you know? And so, and it was looking good. I knew how important that was. And I wanted to keep it simple because as I have said before, ladies, you're not going to read about self-esteem. You're going to do self-esteem. And there are all kinds of affirmations, daily, Clarissa's Corner, daily, the daily demons. We've got case studies. All the things you need in each chapter are there. You're going to do your homework, right? So I wanted to make it a very simple concept. The book I'm going to call it, it's a simple read. The work isn't quite as easy, but it's a simple read. And at the same time, the concept to make it just, what is self-esteem? It's looking good, feeling good. So that's your external, your internal, your head, and your heart. Look good, feel good internal, be good is what you're thinking, and greater good is your heart. Right? It's giving back, tithing, paying it forward, all of that, volunteering,
Yeah.
you know, all of that. So when you cover all the bases, now, you know, a lot of people say, oh, I don't have a lot of money. It doesn't matter. You know, if you stand up for, you know, a pregnant lady in public transportation, if you help someone down the stairs with a baby carriage, if you know, a compliment, a kind word, helping someone across the street, you know, like the littler things in life, you know, you don't have to have, we're not talking broad stroke here. You know, if you can, great. But if you don't have it, you know, just go out and smile. You know, I can't tell you how many women I come across at a supermarket and say, oh, I just love that top, you know, and they love that. You know, people will thank you. They're appreciative. It's a quick exchange. She's feeling pretty good about it, and I'm feeling pretty good about it. It's just a win-win. So sometimes it's a lot more simple. We are the ones that complicate things.
Right. True. Well, you seem to really live in a constant state of gratitude. Who would you like to thank for that?
You know, I think, you know, my mentor really was my grandmother, Clarissa. And so, by the way, I'm the 5th generation Clarissa, the firstborn girl. The firstborn girl got the name. And, you know, I'd like to, I miss my grandmother, and she taught me many lovely things. But who I really want to thank along the way are all the people that had a lesson for me to learn, that brought a lesson for me to learn. All the people that came across my life, where they lied, cheated, stole, you know, whatever, all the stuff that we all know, right? All of those people are really the ones that, because,
Mhm.
you know, otherwise there would have been no education around, you know, self-esteem. There would have been no progression. There would have been growth. And yeah, I mean, that's who I really want to thank, are all those people that you did me wrong.
Gotcha. Well, Miss Clarissa, it has been a joy speaking with you today, working through all of our technical difficulties and everything. Is it anything else that you would like to leave us with as we close out?
I'm good. I mean, you know, I just would love to again thank you ladies for all the lovely, lovely things that you do, because I just take my hat off to you, and I think it's great. And the fact that you have been, you know, I think it restores faith in humanity to know that you ladies have been together for as long as you have, and you're still, you know, just loving on one another and being there for one another, and you know, alliances and support and friendship and girl, sister, sis. And the name of the podcast is perfect. It is just perfect. So
Thank you.
Thank you.
yeah, absolutely. And, you know, I think the other thing that I'd like to say is, you know, especially to maybe some of our younger ladies, is, you know, step away from the trashy and keep it classy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amen. Amen to that one. Mhm. That's true.
Yes.
Keep it classy.
I don't think you heard me. Can you tell our audience how to get your book?
Yeah, some Brene Brown, Clarissa Burt, Dr. Deepak Chopra, and Dr. Joe Dispenza. Right in the
Okay.
Read
Yes,
it,
ma'am.
read it in a week. Yeah.
Hey.
And it's on Amazon, you know, basically all over the world. It's also on Kindle and on Audible if you want to listen to it. So yeah. Thank you so
Thank
much for doing
you.
this for me.
Brene Brown is really
Oh,
good. I like her books. Yes.
I love Tabitha Brown too. She's amazing.
Yeah,
She
Brene
is.
Brown is really good. Yeah.
yes,
Well,
yes. Well, all right. So
thank you again.
Until next time.
there's strength in sisterhood.
And support in sisterhood.
Bye.
Bye.